Morgan. We're here at episode 2, the No Dams Given podcast. Once again, we're gonna talk about downtown Albany. Our guests today are Barbara Rivera Holmes and Justin Strickland. Billy Mann, the Chief Operating Officer for Pretoria Fields Collective, is also here.
Back again.
Back in black,
Got
too.
Skywater cans and Sholey cans this time. And I made in Albany.
There you go. You got the hat on.
For these guys.
Yeah.
So, going to start out with Barbara. Barbara, tell us a little bit about yourself, and I think you have at least one excellent story about our Skywater name that we want to talk about.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for having me. First podcast, so very excited. So I'm Barbara Rivera Holmes. I'm in Albany. I'm the president and CEO of the Albany Area Chamber of Commerce, and I have been here 16 years. But I didn't get here easily. I'm originally from Puerto Rico. English is not my first language, which becomes really a joking topic in the office whenever I say words that don't sound like English. I'm like, it's not my first language, people. Forgive me. So originally from Puerto Rico, moved to Florida when I was 7, grew up in Central Florida, Kissimmee, Florida, went to college in Florida, and married an Albany boy. Met him the day of graduation. He was my sorority sister's brother. So I kind of joke he was my graduation gift. So married him, and he's from Albany. And so I was familiar with the community because his sister and I were such good friends through college. But when we decided to get married, he offered to move down to Central Florida. And I thought, well, I've never lived in Georgia, so we'll just give this a shot. And we are here 16 years later, and it's been amazing. One of the things that I enjoy most about being in this community is just the opportunities and the welcomeness and the people. It is a place you just fall in love with. I did not plan on being in Albany for 16 years, but I made a really conscious effort to stay because I love it so much. But you asked me about the beer. And so Albany is full of great little stories. And one of my favorite stories revolves around water. And so when we were working with you for this project, at the very beginning, I remember going out to the farm and you said, we're going to make beer. And I was like, all right, let's make beer. And as we were working with you, and you didn't solicit names for the brewery, but I gave you.
Our most common solicitation was beer taster. I'll just go ahead and throw that out. In fact, it doesn't go by like every once, maybe twice a week. They're still like, well, I don't know if you got any jobs left, but I'd really like to be your head beer taster. So we have had plenty of that go on.
But I wanted to be your brewery namer.
Right.
That it sort of rhymes. And so I remember telling you about the Skywater story and how Radium Springs is such an important part of this community's history. Of course, going all the way back to the Native Americans. It's one of Georgia's 7 wonders. Natural resources. It's beautiful. It means so much. It has ecological significance. It has historical significance. And so I suggested to you that you name this brewery the Skywater Brewing Company, and you didn't. However, you did name the beer Skywater. Consolation prize. But you know what? People walk around carrying a beer I named. It's a beer you made and a beer I named, and I couldn't be prouder.
You couldn't beat it. So,
it is awesome.
So the cool thing about Skywater and that I like, and one of my favorite stories is we were at I was in residency in Macon, and my chairman was Dr. Martin Dalton, who passed away recently. He was 90 years old, but he's great man. From Dothan, and come to find out, we're sitting there talking about Albany, and he's asking me about several different things. They used to come when he was a child, which would have been the 30s, 40s. They used to come here to just like we would go to the beach. Apparently, it was a huge development all over the southeastern United States. We had the Kennedys came to Radium Springs, the big house that was there. I can't remember what is it. It was
casino.
The casino, yeah. Which has since burned down, of course, and the state now owns the property. But the casino itself was part of my childhood of growing up. We would go there. I went to several parties when I was in high school, and I guess by the time I got into college, that it had gone downhill. But that just showed me what a big part of the community that area had been to the Albany area. That someone from just out of the blue, that they actually came and vacationed here.
People used to come and vacation, and just residents would go and swim, and it was the thing to do. And I remember hearing stories about Radium Springs through my husband's family, and they're just beautiful stories. And it had a little bit of a history there after the floods. Of course, the actual casino was demolished, and Justin has great stories about Radium Springs. He grew up here, and I know he's up next probably. But it's really neat, and then to be able to take all of that and give it this new significance of still making something that is very much our own, and you attach it to that history. It's just really cool. Hernando Soto thought that perhaps Radium Springs was the Fountain of Youth.
Fountain of Youth. That's
so
exactly right.
They thought it had healing waters, which is oddly why it was radium. So if you go down and you look sort of at a timeline of these markers in history, this is one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really neat, and it's awesome, and I take a lot of pride in the fact that I named your beer.
Right. And, being farmers and the ecology, and, man, one of the great natural resources we have is our water. We have the and I'm blanking on the names, but the two huge aquifers that are under southwest Georgia that allow our farmers to irrigate. And that those aquifers form the spring system, which actually forms the Flint River, and then the Radium Springs is part of that system. So wanting to tell that story and the cool parts about the water and how it relates all the way back to our history, and that's really neat. So, Justin, you didn't actually get here. You were born here.
I was born here. That's right.
Yeah. So
Albany native.
A lot of people leave and they don't come back. What brought you back?
Well, the prospect of a job when I graduated from college brought me back.
Good.
Yeah, and gainful employment. But I love Albany, always have. And to be able to be in the position I'm in at the Economic Development Commission, where I can work every day to help bring jobs and investment to my hometown, is a privilege and an honor and a calling for me. So I love what I do. I love the fact that we get to work with the community to help bring resources here, and love seeing Albany grow.
Yeah. Now, you went to school here, right?
Yeah, I graduated from Albany High, 1998. Moved back home after going to the University of Georgia.
Go Dogs.
And have been here, go Dogs, and been here since 2003 after college.
Most importantly, you played baseball at Dixie Ballpark.
That's right, with the
which
one
made
and
us
only
all, man.
legendary
Right? Yeah.
Billy Mann.
That made us all.
I played in your shadow, Billy.
Maybe in cup ball.
Well, before we get into anything too serious, what's your favorite beer? What are you drinking today, and why do you like it?
So I love the Gosa on tap.
Nice.
That's my favorite. It's a good beer. It's real crisp and refreshing. But also love the fact that you can now get Skywater and the Sholey in the cans. Take it with you. So took some down to the beach, and I'm in Leadership, Georgia currently, and took a whole bunch of it over to a little gathering we had, and turned some people from all around the state onto it, and they loved it.
Thank you.
Yep.
We appreciate that. The Goza is technically pretty difficult, isn't it?
Yes, that's it's very unique in that we have one tank that we use to brew the Goza, and that's all we brew in that one tank is the Goza, because we can't really, it's kettle soured, so we can't spread it into the other tanks, and it's a longer process. And also, I think we touched on it last time, we add berries to the Goza a lot of times, which are from the farm. So.
And that's what you've got, Barbara, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's delicious. It's also really pretty.
And beautiful, yeah. Beautiful.
So, well, that brings up another good point. So, as far as the Goza is concerned, it's what percentage would you say that's Georgia grown?
Well, I'd say the berry is upward of 75%. I mean, I think is what we toss around, and the Goza itself is 50% or better, which is definitely our highest across the board right now. That's
So our
the
organic
game.
farm produces the wheat that goes. So Goza itself is wheat, coriander, and sea salt. And then we take that after it's fermented once, and we re-ferment it with our organic berries in different concentrations. So the first one was not the same as the second one. So we've lovingly named it the Berry Project because it's been a little bit different each time. So
what's cool about the Gosa to me is that knowing that more than half of it is produced in Albany, in Southwest Georgia. Know the guy that owns the brewery.
Yeah.
Know the guy that sells the beer. know the guy that makes the beer. I mean, it makes the Ghost is already an incredible tasting beer.
Right.
But knowing all that and knowing that the brewery is across the street right here from where we're sitting and where we work every day makes it taste even better.
It's an experience.
Very
Our whole
cool.
story is an experience, from the farm to the brewer to the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Justin, you had a lot to do with the brewery actually being downtown.
Did I? I mean, maybe just a little bit.
I think you
come
did.
on.
So I think when y'all came downtown to talk to the county about rezoning the farm, changing the zoning at the farm to allow y'all to sell products you made there, we said, look downtown. I mean, that was it, right? That was my only involvement.
I
I think you had a little more involvement than that.
Okay.
maybe that's a good.
Why not?
Yeah. Maybe that's a little leadway into what exactly do you do, and how do you help Albany? How do you help promote downtown Albany, or how do you help promote Albany in general? Maybe just start with that.
The best thing that I can do is connect people with resources.
Sure.
And so I look at my job as multifaceted in that we help bring industry into the community. We help the existing industry that we have thrive and succeed. And we also help market the community and really try and make Albany a place where people want to live and people want to work, raise a family, and invest their money. So for me, working towards revitalizing downtown, where our office is, downtown to me is the heartbeat of the community. And so when people come and meet with us at our office, they see downtown naturally because our office is downtown. But most people too, with just the trend in downtown redevelopment, want to see your downtown. And I've always felt that downtown is a reflection of your community. And so if you've got a great, growing, thriving downtown, the rest of your town's probably doing all right too.
So why is that? And I get it, but why is that important? So in other communities, how has it helped? So I mean, and we talk a lot about Macon. Macon's had a good revitalization. Columbus has had a good revitalization. Just talking about the region, Thomasville never really stopped. But I mean, those are communities that we've looked at and that we're trying to emulate. We have a lot of positive things that are going on. We have good. The river's right here, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got. I heard somebody say earlier today, if other communities could lasso our river and move it into their downtown, they would.
Yeah.
And so we need to celebrate that and appreciate it. But just looking back in the 70s, a lot of traffic was diverted from downtown. The mall was built. Retail moved out towards the mall. And so downtown, whether it was purposeful or not, was isolated. And so what became a government center, an 8 to 5 government center, where no one really lived where they worked. That wasn't a concept that was adopted. And you saw a lot more of the retail move out to Northwest Albany to be able to refocus on downtown and give it that vibe that we all like when we go to a downtown that we enjoy hanging out in, and to see that happen in Albany because of what's happened at Pretoria Fields is amazing. And to see how the veins of that energy that y'all have brought to downtown Albany is spreading out and providing new energy to other people and to new areas of downtown Albany.
So
it's exciting.
Is the importance recruiting? Is the importance actually an economic engine? Is it a little bit of both?
The importance is, for me, the way I see it, is making Albany a place where people want to be, and that people are proud that they're from Albany. So it's recruiting that business that people are going to say, wow, that business would come to our community. There must be something special here. It's working to help retain the businesses that we have, where when they expand, they know the challenges and the advantages of doing business here. And when they win hard-fought corporate dollars to expand here, that's an honor too. And so to keep those incredible businesses that we have here is an honor. But then also get out and tell people more about Albany. Albany is an incredible town. We've lived here our whole life.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you feel is needed downtown to accomplish all of that? to help us accomplish all of that?
I think it's good leadership. It's cool stores, things that make you feel like you're in a downtown that you want to walk around in all day, and
Things to do.
and
Things
spend
to
time
entertain,
in.
more,
Places for recreation, the
For a
riverfront.
while, yeah, and I agree with you. I think for a while, it seems like in the last 10 years that I've been back, on the weekends, everybody leaves. They go to the lake, they go to the beach, they go somewhere else. And to really be a community, you got to spend time together.
Yep.
To have a downtown, like I like to call the pub, the public house, to have a public house where everybody meets, they talk. We don't have TVs,
Right.
So you got to talk.
Right.
We might do football games.
Yeah.
We're going to do football games,
Yeah.
especially Georgia football games. But the idea is a place where the community comes together. We're all proud of it, and it builds it builds pride in our city. We look at the river as it flows through. I mean, they built it on the community was built on the river so that we could be an economic engine and we could move goods and from here down to the Gulf and then out into the Gulf to other areas. It never worked out. We became the railroad center for Southwest Georgia.
Yep.
If you look at downtown, I mean, we still have a huge railroad depot, and part of moving, or we just ship it on rail, and we have for almost 200 years. So is that recruitment part of what the city needs from a downtown? Or is it something different? Or is that how you think about it, or do you think about it in a different way?
No, I think in terms of whether it's a large business or a small business, or whether we're looking at the recruitment of people, we're looking at, just to mention part of it, a place where people want to live and businesses want to invest. And people want community. People want a sense of belonging. And companies want that for their people. They want them to have a high quality of life. They want them to have the amenities. They want them to feel like they're a part of something, so that they're proud of their community, they're proud of their work. And downtown Albany provides the avenue for that. We have some great places in Albany where people congregate. But downtown's the only place where people can really congregate en masse and have a variety of options of people to see, of things to do, of things to experience. You can put in the kayaks, you can walk the trails, you can play in the park, you can go to the brewery, you can do some shopping. So there's so much. We have all of the attractions. So when it comes to business and when it comes to people, we're trying to hit similar components, just from different areas.
So as far as moving forward in the next few years, where do you see all this going?
Growing and growing and growing. I see it going better and stronger and just building upon what we have. Listen, I've worked in Albany all 16 years. I started working at the Albany Herald in 2002, which is across the street from here.
That's right.
Worked
You can actually see the building out the back.
You can see the building. I've
Out the
actually, and then I worked at the Economic Development Commission, and now I'm at the Chamber, and it's all really still within this 1.5 block footprint here in downtown Albany, and I've always enjoyed it. And so where do I see this going? I think we've got incredible momentum and energy. One of my favorite things now about what we're seeing in downtown Albany is that we are really seeing the diversity of people in our community. We're seeing people from outside our community. We're seeing people who are different than each other. So it's no longer, here's one part of the community and here's another part of the community and here's another. Everybody's coming together, and they're excited to meet each other. So it's really become exciting, and I think that we will continue to see that grow. I think getting the mix of businesses is important. Getting the right mix of businesses is going to be important. You want things that complement each other and that really drive our residential traffic, but then also our visitor traffic to the area. But I don't see this dying down. I do think that we have to be forward-looking in terms of our pro-business climate, in terms of how we establish those businesses, in terms of our coding. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to go into creating a vision and a feeling. People want a feeling. I like a feeling. You go for an experience. And so how do we cultivate that experience? A lot of it has to come from private industry, but there's a certain component that also government will play a role in when it comes to how we designate some of these areas.
And so in moving forward, to me, it is recruitment, and it's a recruitment tool. As much, it becomes an economic engine, but it's one of those things in business that's a late economic engine. Like after all of the things are built and all of the little pieces come together, then suddenly you'll see some dollars come forward. But to get new industry to come to the area when they come, especially when they're coming, if you're going to try to recruit somebody, we recruited our brewmaster from California, and his significant other from California also. And so to bring those to the community and look at downtown and look at all the history, and it sells people because it's such a cool thing. And we do have a long story going back to the early 1800s and all these old buildings and businesses, and trying to get those back up. But the economic engine of downtown, and I guess that's one of the stories that I want people to understand, is that we're investing in the community the dollars now so that we can bring those businesses and those other things into the community. So we bring other people here. They have something to do. They have something to look forward to. It doesn't just become, oh, well, I work here and then we go somewhere else on the weekend, or I work here and I go somewhere else on the weekend.
It's very much a long range plan. I remember being in a meeting many years ago when downtown was nowhere near where it is now, and sitting around a group of folks, and someone said, well, I love to go to this city's downtown. It's amazing. He said 20, 30 years ago, I wouldn't have gone. It was terrible and nobody wanted to be there. And he was really making the same case for our downtown. He said, I wouldn't go to downtown Albany, but I'm going to go to this other community's downtown because 20 or 30 years later, they got it together. Well, you have to start somewhere, right? You have to be the people, you have to have the vision that are willing to say, hey, we're going to do it, and we know that it's going to take a while. Sure. But we're going to believe in it. And I think that's been one of the hardest things that I've seen throughout my history in Albany and everything that we've gone through with downtown is the lack of belief that people had that it could be something amazing. And thanks to so many partners coming together, and very specifically thanks to the very large investment in the vision that you and your partners had, we're able to finally see what it can be. Mm-hmm. And it's exciting. And we're now seeing development through downtown and other pockets of it as well. We're seeing some over on Jefferson as well with what they're doing with the bread house and different parcels there. And you're seeing it start to spread in other areas. So we're doing really amazing things. And it takes sustainment, and it takes long range vision and patience.
No doubt. Well, I mean, the world can change with one person and one idea. And there's no doubt about that. One of the ideas I really like is the Made in Albany seal. Show me your hat there, buddy.
Spin it around sideways.
So how did that come about?
Well, a few years ago, we started a campaign because we realized that our people that live in Albany needed to be more positive about Albany. There's a lot of good stuff here, a lot of good things to do.
That's right.
So we wanted people to seize on that and start thinking about the good things and telling more people about the good things that are here. And so we started what we call There's Only One Albany. Mm-hmm. Launched a couple of videos and had a social media campaign, and it was well received. And then we started thinking through that process, we need to highlight our industry and our businesses that are here, and how do we do that? And so one of the well-received videos showcased some of the larger industry that we have. And so in order to draw that campaign out, we said, let's turn the spotlight on our industry. And we did that through the Made in Albany, Georgia campaign. And so Barbara designed the logo. And it's then
good. Y'all can admire it.
It is good looking, isn't it? Thank you.
It looks good. And then
it's not on these glasses. We actually have it on the back of some of our glasses.
Yeah,
I have it on the back of the shirt I was just given. It's awesome.
To get more, there's such high demand. Like every bar around here was like, we got to have a case of the Made in Albany glasses. They're amazing.
Yep. So have the seal, have the logo. Did 13 different videos of different industries around town. Ended with Pretoria Fields. Mm-hmm. Right after y'all opened, and decided that we're going to keep that campaign going organically through some merchandise and through having other events, and trying to emphasize the products that are made in Albany.
So I was looking at some of those. So just Coates and Clark. I mean, they were after, or I think they were before us. They were the one right before us. Their Heart, is it a Heart?
The Red Heart Yarn.
Red Heart Yarn. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you can get that at Walmart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something, something that people, I didn't even, like, I read, because I was preparing for these discussions, I looked at, I'd have to admit, I looked at my video.
Right.
So I knew, ours was really good.
You prepared for this?
Actually did.
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
a little bit. So, but the idea, I mean, there's tons of stuff that's made here.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one thing.
Yeah, we wanted to point out some of the fascinating things about industry, and one of those with Coates and Clark is that they have the largest yarn manufacturing facility in the world in Albany, Georgia.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
And they have people who've been working there for 20 plus years.
3 generations of families that have worked there. Same with Mars. Mars has people where 3 generations of family members have worked there making combos, making goodness knows snack squares, roasting peanuts for Snickers. So it's just amazing some of the breadth of industry that we have, world-class industry that sells products all over the world. But then, we've got small, nimble industry that is new or growing, that knows that manufacturing works in Albany, and that's what we wanted to highlight through the campaign and make people feel proud of that.
Mm-hmm. And the cool thing is we're highlighting all of the natural ingredients that we're producing here. But M&M Mars is using South Georgia peanuts. They're using South Georgia cotton. I mean, these huge companies are already reusing and using the products that are grown down here for producing products for Georgia, from Georgia, that are going to go all over the world.
Right. And you know what, to kind of bring it back around, Radium Springs was the center of manufacturing for the Native Americans. And so they made arrowheads, spear tips, pottery around Radium Springs and traded it from there. So Albany's always been a center of manufacturing, harkening back to the days of Native Americans being here. So we're proud that legacy continues. We like to tell people Albany's a blue-collar town with white-collar amenities. And so we've got that workforce here that believes in making a product, knows how to make a product, and puts a lot of pride and sweat into making a product that other people can be proud of, and then we sell it all over the world.
Well, I think that's one of the greatest assets or components of the campaign has been we're not only showcasing the products that are made in Albany, but we're talking about the people.
Right.
And if you really look at the videos, they are certainly about the products and the brands, but they're about the people, because people associate with people more than they do with products. So it's been a great way, as Justin said, to create pride, not just in things that are manufactured here, but in our own people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In South Georgia, I mean, that's what our collective's about, and that's what revitalizing the downtown is about. It's about everybody coming together. The city and the county, it's developed, has put their faith in Pretoria Fields and in other businesses. And so one of the things I wanted to discuss was faith by putting some of the tax dollars into the business. What is a private-public partnership, and how does that money flow? And do y'all know? Can we discuss part of that?
Yeah, so a lot of downtowns have used a model for economic growth that starts with a public-private partnership. Communities realize that sometimes they have to put some skin in the game in order to incentivize or encourage a business to come back to an area that may be out of date or not have a lot of development going on. And so in order to spur that development on, public-private partnerships are created.
So one of the things people may think of is that, the government or the city put all the money into the partnership. But really it's the city puts a little bit, and most of it is public, or is private, correct?
Right. But, one way to look at it, too, is what city wouldn't want a craft brewer who's a manufacturer who makes a product, who then has a tasting room, public house, who drives traffic to downtown. I mean, who wouldn't want to invest in something like that to help spur on new investment in their. So for me, it's kind of a no-brainer that it's a good partnership to invest some public dollars into a company or a project that will long-term reap greater benefits than that investment back to the community. And we've seen that already happen for y'all.